to see how everything was going, and also to try to see if we could find our cats, hoping that they will come back. So Todd just took off right away, and he did not come back. And Jose hung around, and our cat Lily was hanging around, but after a while we noticed that she had left, and right before this cold spell she had left, right before it. And I don't know if she could feel it coming, and it wasn't enough of a feel-good space for her to be, and there wasn't a lot of traffic here, so I think that she went to somewhere where there was more presence of people. And she's a social cat, and I'm gonna make some flyers to put out to people's mailboxes that are in the area, just to send them pictures of the cats and to try to see if we can locate them, because they are great cats and I don't want them to be lost. In retrospect, I just feel like, why did I not put collars on those cats? The stupidest thing. I feel like before releasing them, I could have had collars with my phone number on them. It's something that I kind of thought about, but in the moment I was just like, I think that they're going to stay around because there's going to be enough traffic, but there wasn't quite enough traffic. And then they probably just found a cozy barn close by and decided to stay there. We have Kalina at my mom's place, so it was just not secure enough, I feel like, for her to stay out here even with the GPS on, and for her to stay kind of out of the way of the workers and everything. So my mom was encouraging. My mom, you know what, how people react to your failures. You're already feeling it. You're already feeling like a failure, like you could have done something to prevent this. You love those animals. You want them to have a good space. You don't want them to run away. And I'm thankful to my mom that she was just like, you know, they're probably just found a warm space. It's really cold. Actually, right now it feels really delightful. It's like it's like 37 degrees outside right now. But she's like, let it warm up. And they travel. I know that they made some good travel from our house to other places. So I think if they wandered back and they saw us here working, that they would definitely come back and just set up house here once we're out here. When somebody's already down and feeling stupid for doing something or not doing something that they could have done to prevent something from happening, we all make mistakes. And I love what my mom said. She just said, you know, when it warms up, when there's more people around, when it warms up, they'll probably come around. They'll probably wander back. She grew up on a farm. Grandma grew up on a farm. The tenacity for survival is very strong, and the curiosity and exploration of these cats is strong too. And they explore and they test out places, and I'm sure she probably explored, tested out a place, and then was just like, this is too cold, or this is too uncomfortable, or I'm too lonely and I want to be somewhere else. So when you have a chance to encourage somebody, please encourage them when they're down, instead of saying, like, someone could be like, you could have put collars on them. Yeah, that was stupid. You know, they already feel down. Just encourage them. Don't make them feel worse. God, I pray that you bring our cats home. Anyway, so about our well. I wanted a well rather badly because I want something that I can just water my garden without a care, just without really having to rule water and not have to think about it too much. And also I know that it was going to be, I believe it was going to be healthier for us to have a well and with a hydrogen peroxide system hooked to it. I'm gonna have to probably go with rural water with a reverse osmosis and a hydrogen peroxide system and a carbon filtration, and I think that will satisfy me on that level. And we can always put in a well later. So there's those options. But the well was going to be about that could have been $60,000. And it's where we're at is so high up actually, and there's no, when they looked at the maps of the water underneath, there's no good aquifer, I think it's called, that you get into. So they would have had to drill down 800 feet. Our well at our last place was like 14 feet. But we ain't gonna flood here at all, ever. And so yeah, there's decisions to make like that. I mean, do you want to pay $50,000 on the front end and get a well dug and a pump system and all this stuff, or do you pay for rural water to come in? I just feel like there's not a very, I don't want to do it. I don't want rural water. I would prefer the well water because of the chlorine and the fluoride. But with a well, even if you drill a well, people have drilled wells and have had it not be a good experience because their well is so much, there's so much sulfur. And now we need sulfur. Sulfur-rich vegetables they talk about getting in your food, but if you can't stand the sulfur in the water, is to that extent where you can't even stand the sulfur in your water, and the oxidizing, it doesn't eliminate that, and you'd have to really do some rather dramatic filtration systems to combat that. Now, like that's a lot. It's like playing lottery with your $50,000, which wells are usually not that expensive. They're like, $3,000 to $10,000, $15,000 to drill, depending on your depth and everything. That's where you get into more money. So I think for now it's more advantageous for us to wait and use the rural water, use the hydrogen peroxide system plus the carbon filtration or reverse osmosis to get the chlorine and the fluoride out so that it doesn't compete for iodine on our receptors in our body. And possibly do a well later. We will overcome. Sorry about this sad post. It's not very inspiring.